Jake Carter walked slowly into the Dusty Mule Saloon just outside Flagstaff. His steps were heavy, and his body ached from old wounds that never seemed to heal. The deep pain in his shoulder was a constant reminder of the war he fought in Afghanistan. He wasn't looking for anything special, just a quiet place to sit and drink away the memories that haunted him every day. The bar was dimly lit, filled with the smell of spilled beer and old wood. Jake barely noticed the people around him as he took a seat at the far end of the counter. That's when he saw her. A woman with auburn hair tied tightly back, sleeves rolled up to reveal strong arms. Her eyes were tired but sharp, and there was a strange calm about her that made the room feel quieter. She didn't ask for his order, just poured him a glass of whiskey and placed it in front of him without a word. Jake looked down at the glass, then glanced at her. There was something about the way she moved, careful and watchful, like she was hiding more than just tiredness. She had a scar on her wrist that caught the light for a moment, but Jake didn't say anything about it. Instead, he muttered, "You look like hell." She smiled faintly and said back, "You feel worse." Neither of them tried to pretend they were okay. Both carried invisible burdens heavier than the glass of whiskey between them. What Jake didn't know was that she kept a loaded revolver hidden beneath the bar, ready for trouble. And tucked away in her worn wallet was a photo of a man who was no longer alive. That night, the silence between them held secrets neither was ready to speak out loud. Week after week, Jake found himself coming back to the Dusty Mule. Not for the whiskey, but for the quiet strength he saw in the woman behind the bar. Her name was Lily, and she was more than just a bartender. Jake learned that she had also served in the army. She was a combat medic for 4 years, someone who had seen pain and death up close, but carried it all with quiet dignity. Lily didn't talk much about her past, but Jake noticed the way she looked at the door sometimes like waiting for something that might never come. One night, as she was closing up, Jake heard her singing softly to herself. The song was a gentle old country tune, "Take Me Home, Country Roads." It was a song his mother used to play when he was a boy. The sound of her voice cracked something inside him. He asked if she missed home. Her answer was simple but full of sorrow. Every damn day. That moment opened a small door between them. They began to share pieces of their stories, the kind of stories people rarely tell. She showed him the scar on her side, close to her ribs, a painful reminder of a war injury from Mosul. Jake lifted his shirt, revealing his own scars from Fallujah, and they silently understood each other. What passed between them wasn't just shared pain, but a deep connection, a bond forged from their broken pasts. In a world that often seemed cold and unforgiving, they found something rare, understanding and maybe even hope. One quiet Tuesday night, trouble came to the Dusty Mule Saloon without warning. The clock had just passed midnight when a black pickup truck rolled slowly into the parking lot. Inside were 3 men with cold eyes and heavy tattoos that marked them as dangerous. Their presence immediately changed the mood inside the bar. The usual low chatter stopped, and the air grew thick with tension. Jake noticed Lily stiffen behind the bar. Her calm, quiet strength gave way to something more fragile. A flicker of fear that she tried to hide but couldn't. The leader of the group was a broad man with a snake tattoo curling around his neck, a cruel smile spreading across his face as he looked directly at Lily. Well, look who crawled out of hiding," he said, his voice low and threatening. Jake felt his muscles tighten and stood up slowly. "Something wrong here?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. The man laughed, a sound full of menace. "Not your concern, old man," he replied. But Jake wasn't the kind to back down when someone he cared about was in danger. The tension exploded suddenly. A chair smashed against a table, fists flew, and a broken bottle sliced across the snake man's face. Jake moved with a brutal, practiced skill born from years of war. each strike fueled by anger and protectiveness. The fight was quick and fierce. Two of the men managed to get away, limping badly, but one stayed on the floor, groaning. Jake glanced back at Lily, who was already retreating into the back room, her hands trembling and tears in her eyes. This was not just a bar fight. It was something deeper, something painful that Jake could feel, but did not yet understand. After the fight, Lily finally opened up. She told Jake the truth she had been hiding all along. The man with the snake tattoo was not just some random troublemaker. He was her late husband's brother. Her husband, Danny, had been involved in illegal gun running after the war. Lily had discovered the dark secret too late, and when she tried to leave, Danny had beaten her badly. Then, one night, Danny didn't come home. Officially, it was ruled a robbery gone wrong. But Lily knew the truth was more complicated. She had run away, trying to escape the dangerous world that had swallowed her husband. Now, his brother and others were searching for her, believing she knew something they wanted to keep hidden. When Jake asked if she was hiding anything, she answered with quiet pain, saying she was hiding peace. A peace she had earned after years of running and fear. Jake believed her because he saw the weight she carried in her eyes. He didn't say much, but the silence between them spoke volumes. Both of them were broken in different ways, but their pain was real and shared. For the first time, Lily let someone see the truth beneath her calm exterior. Jake understood that trust was fragile, but worth risking. Their connection deepened, not just as two people with difficult pasts, but as two souls trying to find safety and hope together. Several weeks after the violent encounter at the Dusty Mule Saloon, Jake and Lily tried to settle back into a quiet rhythm, but the danger was far from over. One evening, just as the sun dipped behind the mountains and shadows stretched across the dusty street, the threat returned with more force. This time, 5 men arrived, heavily armed and clearly more determined. They weren't just coming for a fight, they wanted something from Lily, something Jake could feel in the cold stares they gave him. Jake had seen too many battles to be caught off guard. He stood outside the bar, steady and unflinching, hand resting near his hip where he kept a pistol, though he hoped it wouldn't come to that. The leader of the group sneered, dismissing Jake's warning to leave. "You boys need to turn around," Jake said firmly, voice calm but hard. "You ain't stopping us," the leader shot back, stepping closer like he was daring Jake to make the first move. Then, as tension reached its peak, Lily stepped out from the shadows behind Jake. Calm and cold, she held up a small camera, its red recording light blinking steadily. "You want a war?" she said, her voice clear. "The sheriff's watching this live." Above them, a small drone buzzed softly, circling and sending live video to the local authorities. Jake had prepared for this moment, rigging the drone himself to capture any trouble before it could start. The leader's sneer faltered, as he realized they had been outsmarted. No one wanted a fight with the law watching and 2 ex-soldiers ready to defend their ground. With curses and angry glares, the men backed off and left, defeated without a single bullet fired. Jake and Lily watched them go, knowing full well that peace never comes easily. Sometimes it means standing up, fighting, not just with weapons, but with courage and cleverness. The days that followed were quieter, the kind of quiet that feels fragile but hopeful. The Dusty Mule Saloon slowly returned to its usual rhythm. Jake fixed broken tables and wiped down counters, while Lily played her music a little louder, filling the space with the sound of life returning. One clear night, under a sky full of stars, they sat outside, sharing a rare moment of peace. Lily broke the silence first. "I never thought I'd trust a man again," she admitted softly. Jake reached out and took her hand, his eyes full of understanding. "I never thought I'd heal," he said quietly. For a long time, they sat there, holding on to something new, a chance to be more than the scars they carried inside. Lily smiled, a real smile that reached her eyes. "Broken things don't always stay broken," she said. Jake nodded slowly, feeling the truth of her words. Sometimes, he said, they fit together better. In that moment, beneath the wide Arizona sky, two people who had survived war, loss, and betrayal found something rare and precious: peace, trust, and hope. They learned that healing doesn't happen alone, and that sometimes the person who saves you isn't perfect either. They are just someone who understands your pain and chooses to stay anyway. This was their quiet victory, a lesson that life, no matter how hard, can still offer new beginnings.